And then there's Elisha, the ascension of Elijah.
Yes. Bible is absolutely jam-packed with UFO incidents if you read it in that light.
And the transfiguration of Christ.
Yes. Also in the Bible you've got descriptions of cloud UFOs, taken up in the clouds.
Then there's the three Marys at the tomb.
Yes.
Because two figures were seen.
Oh, you mean the figures in white? Yes. I think they must have been ufonauts, space people, those figures in white, because they more or less indicated that that Jesus had risen and gone up, and he'd come back in the same way, it said.
And the ascension itself?
The ascension of Christ, the picture there, it shows him ascending in a spacecraft. Yes, that's how he went. That is how he went back, in the same way as he came, probably. And when you come to think of it, there was nothing really very sacrilege about that. It's just showing that those kind of things are possible, you see. Another idea as to where some of the UFOs, not necessarily all of them, but a considerable number of them, they emanate. And that is from inside the Earth.
From inside the Earth?
Inside the Earth. Now, in my book, this book here, Secret of the Ages, I give some evidence for the concept of a hollow Earth. I quoted Nansen's, the famous explorer, Norwegian explorer, who made an attempt to reach what was called the North Pole in, I think it was 1895. And at first, of course, it started getting cold the further north he went. And then he found, to his surprise, it began to get warmer. He also, the further north he went, then he was very surprised to find traces of warm-blooded animals in the Arctic Circle at that time. And then, eventually, he reached a warm sea, which had quite a depth to it. And by this time, they'd lost their way, you see. They couldn't understand why it was. In fact, they seemed to be going down. If you see what I'm getting at. Well, look, just take a look at these pictures showing the whole, you'll see, the North Pole. Satellite pictures.
This is a satellite picture taken in 68.
Yeah.
This would be what, 300 or 400 miles wide, at least, wouldn't it?
Something like that, yes. And of course, and then you'd go in like that, and it would decrease, you see, and it would go down. And the one at the south, in the south, is not so big, I don't think. Thousands of pictures have been taken by satellites, and only one or two have ever actually managed to take the whole itself, due to the weather conditions, because over the pole, all that area, there's always fog, nearly always fog, over where that hole is. So, it is my thesis that inside the Earth, there is a very advanced technology of people there, their descendants still there, with the old technology that they had, and these spacecraft.
Are coming in and out of this hole?
Well, not only there, but in the south as well.
Look, Kankati, critics would say that this picture is a composite picture taken from space, which doesn't include the section which is black and appears to be a hole.
Yes. Well, of course, people are always bound to say anything about anything that's produced. As I told you earlier, most of the time there's fog over where that hole is. I'm not at all sure whether they're all benevolent down there or not. There have been some very strange things which have happened to ufologists, stories of mysterious men in black, you see, who come and shut you up, silence you if you get on too hot a track, you see. It hasn't happened yet to me. But nevertheless, there have been many, many stories, and many strange people have, many strange things have happened to people.
I think, in fact, that we're going to find out, if we are given time to find it out, that, first of all, that we are not the first humanity that has been on this planet anyway. There have been quite a number of others that have come unstuck or been wiped out. Secondly, that man is not just the product of chance, of the ordinary workings out of blind evolution. He's that plus something else. That, in other words, we are the result of some very superior engineering by somebody, somewhere. And I think that opposed to those forces, the creative powers of the cosmos, there are others who you could describe as the opposition, or the people who are throwing spanners in the works. I suspect that there is a very great struggle going on for control of us. Now, there is a group in America, from whom I've heard in recent years, who claim that they have evidence that there are 4 different lots who are struggling for control of Homo sap.
Me, you.
Yeah. And they would have quite different viewpoints and might not all be what we would call benevolent. This would explain a great deal, because almost without exception, these beings of different sizes and shapes are never seen in association with each other.
Nor are they reported in the papers.
No. You mean as in association?
Well, you don't pick up your morning paper and read about these things happening daily.
Oh, of course you don't. But
now, why?
The reason for that is that there are subtle methods of seeing that that doesn't happen. I'm not suggesting that there's a D notice. I don't think they do it by anything as unsubtle as a D notice. But there are other ways. I'm sure that phone calls are put through, and an item which was not considered helpful is removed. I've noticed this myself many times.
Professor Jung postulated the notion that this was some sort of kickback from fear, that when people were under the impression that they were in great danger from being blown up by atomic bombs or whatever, that they tend, for some reason which I don't understand, to see things out in the sky. That, in fact, man has always looked up to the heavens for rescue, hasn't he?
Indeed he has, yes. And if they do see things under these circumstances, then this is equally something which is worthy of examination, I would say. Medical examination or scientific examination. And anyway, Professor Jung, I believe, because we know his niece, Frau Zinstag, she told us that Professor Jung was quite convinced towards the end of his life that this was a very real phenomenon.
A real phenomenon in terms of human experience,
yes, yes.
But not necessarily objectively true
no,
in terms of physical things out there.
Well, I've not gone along very much on the nuts and bolts theory, as I call it anyway, but there's something happening in the minds of people which is caused by, almost certainly, by these objects. That's how I see it.
So you've got a circle, that there's something out there which is causing the brain, the human brain,
this is
to react in a certain way.
Yes, this is a distinct possibility. Because if these were otherwise extraterrestrial pilots surveying the Earth, then they've been an awful long time doing it and not getting anywhere or making contact with us, direct contact, only just in odd individual cases with odd people. There's certainly not a planned invasion or anything like this. It doesn't appear like this at all.
It's like a child fishing in a pond.
That indeed.
What are we looking for? Something solid or something tenuous?
That's a question I ask myself